The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say it.
I'm trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have been brought to the brink.
Where are we going?
A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming. The train can't be stopped. Momentum is already here.
We are live tonight, emergency broadcast with the True Perspective, the TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble, and on TikTok right now currently. So if you have me on TikTok, True_Warface, go there as well. But make sure you like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe to the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. Spread it out there. Also follow. We got my boy, good friend, and probably one of the smartest people that I know that's been in the dirt, been in the grain, been arrested for free speech and for being a hardcore truther. My boy Will Turbit, FakeMicRealNews, live with me, and I appreciate you, Will, for coming on and at last minute and and coming on the live. We got a little feedback. Sorry about that. And yeah, I appreciate you for coming on here, doing this live with me for a little while, and to discuss this stuff. And make sure everyone goes and follow him. But Will, I'll let you also introduce your pages and where people can follow you, and then we can get into it.
Yeah, check me out on YouTube, Fake Mike, MIC Real News, Fake Mike Real News, Instagram, Fake Mike Real News, and FakeMicRealNews.com. Check me out over on YouTube. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. I'm almost at 20,000. Been banned before. Help me get past 20,000 to tell them to. But yeah, I'd appreciate it.
20,000. Congratulations on that, bro.
Not yet. We're gonna have as I invited you last time. We had. So you've been at 2 of my over 9,000 power parties, because as we were talking about on TikTok earlier, rest in peace, F in the chats, guys. Throw F in the chats for TikTok, man. And Harambe and Jordan Maxwell. F in the chats for TikTok, Harambe, Jordan Maxwell. So yeah, man, we were talking about behind the scenes about, man. Wait, where was I going with this, man? I just zoned out thinking about Harambe and Jordan Maxwell, man.
So
I did, man. The world changed after that, man.
No, that's all good. You were talking about well, you were just saying like I don't know if you were saying F TikTok or you're saying like RIP TikTok.
Yeah, just RIP in general TikTok. But yeah, check me out on those platforms. And yeah, that's what I was saying. You and I have celebrated before, because we're talking about behind the scenes about 4chan and how now everything's moved over to Reddit and how they're centralizing these social media platforms. And they've been doing it for a while, and they're doing it even more so nowadays. So when we're trying to do all the centralization stuff, the first time my YouTube channel was out there, it got banned. But we were able to make it over 9,000. So we don't celebrate 10,000, we celebrate 9,000. Like the bros on 4chan, because over 9,000 Dragon Ball Z. But so yeah, so True was with me for those 2, and it was a tough one too, because we weren't over here unboxing kittens. We were saying things. I don't know how much I can say on this channel here, how much we want this to be palatable for YouTube. If we're gonna put it on YouTube, I'm gonna be sensitive. But we were talking some stuff. I literally predicted the reason Bill Gates got a divorce a couple days before the Wall Street Journal. I broke the news. So a lot of crazy things over there. So they shut us down. But yeah, help us build back and help the True Perspective. The best way you guys can do that is share the video. And True's a good dude. And but like you said, behind the scenes, man, me and him been friends for a long time. I don't know if you guys know. You guys might forget this guy's an MC, man. He's got tracks with some legit MCs. Some of my favorite rappers, which I'm quite jealous of too.
Yeah. Shout outs to my boy JD from across the pond. Me and him are actually on a song with Dead Prez, Stickman from Dead Prez, and also Razkaz, in another song. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely another part that I work on too, is music, and Will's always hyped. I keep it very moderate and humble. I don't really
Where can people find those tracks, man? Where can people find those tracks?
You could go to soundcloud.com/truest pain, TRUEST pain, soundcloud.com/truest pain, and you can find the latest of all of my music. There's more music coming along soon. Working on stuff. And you can go to Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble and follow The Tru Perspective, the TRU Perspective. And also, because I suck at promoting this too, is True Norseman Crafts, TRU Norseman Crafts. So if you want yourself a dream horn, I don't have any around me at the moment, which is poor promotion. That's my fault. But go to True Norseman Crafts on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Yeah, I got one of the horns, man. Those are dope, bro.
You do.
Dope.
Hell yeah, you do.
I was drinking Guinness out of that the other day, matter of fact.
Yeah, that's actually the best thing to drink out of those two, like darker beers. It actually keeps the pores of the horn, because I mean it's real horn, so what it does, it keeps the pores and everything. It actually keeps it healthy from.
And that's what a lot of people don't know, that these are real horns. True himself actually made sure that they were organically sourced. He went over to Africa and started ripping horns off rhinoceroses. So give him a lot of credit. This is locally sourced, all homegrown, organic. Just kidding. That is not true. He did not do that. It did not happen.
Shit. I'm banned already. They're gonna Peter's gonna come out.
And just in case you guys were wondering, Peter, his address is
yeah. No rhinoceros horns or anything like that. It's all like buffalo, naturally sourced, like buffalo horn, water buffalo, all types of cow horn, all that stuff. That's hilarious. Rhino horns. I mean, damn, that'd be honorable to have, but like they're so.
I could just imagine you stalking in the wilderness, doing a rhinoceros.
Yeah, but
biting it off with your teeth.
They're just so endangered. I couldn't do that.
Because of you.
Yeah, because of me. Fucking hilarious. But yeah, man, like you said, we were talking prior to this, and I think TikTok had a little bit of an exclusive on that. Is that what I wanted to so I was watching your episode earlier. How recent was that episode of you and Mello and what was it? Memory
Hold, HOLD.
Memory Hold. Yeah, yep. Shout out to him too. Yeah. Shout outs to Mello. By the way, shout outs to you and Memory Hold. I don't know you, but shout outs to you, because very knowledgeable brothers out there that are like in the stronghold of the truther movement. But how long ago was that video? Was that recent?
I want to say I did a live, I want to say about 3 weeks ago, and I knew just because of the content that Memory Hold and I talk about, I can't get Memory Hold on a stream and not talk about some of the content we want to talk about. So I did it live to get some eyeballs on YouTube, and then I downloaded it so we could have and I just put it on Facebook. And so that Facebook I already can't join groups. I'm already shadow banned there. And after they already banned my other Facebook, I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to let it rip there. And because the people need to hear the information. And he's somebody, he's a real interesting dude, because he was a normie. You know what I'm saying? He was a normie, and he laughed at people like you and I, just even a few years ago, maybe back in 2015, 2014. And then he was always kind of like, interested in UFOs, but kind of laughed them off as a conspiracy. And then he was like, well, what do I even really know? And then he just started actually researching UFOs. What do we really know about these things? And then once the WikiLeaks shared the Podesta emails, then the rest is history. So yeah, and so he's not only an expert on a few different fields, but one of them is what got him here is the whole UFO UAP thing. And I want to say one thing before we even delve into it. The most fascinating aspect of this whole thing is even before the latest realm that they're coming out and they're talking about, oh, there's these drones and there's UAPs and all this stuff. Even before all of that, I was asking my guests, I was like, and I was always wondering myself, it's like, okay, for 100 years, you were crazy if you questioned things going on in the sky. And now it's like the Vatican, Fox News, CNN, government, they're all admitting, yeah, they're UFOs out there. We call them UAPs now. And the weirdest thing about it is the three people most responsible for releasing this information to the public with the recent UAP videos, not the recent drones, but the ones that came out on the news like 2 or 3 years ago, are this guy Luis Elizondo, who used to work for the Pentagon. I'm not saying he couldn't be a good guy, but you got to keep that in the back of your mind. Some guy Tom DeLonge, and the guy that I just talked about, John Podesta, the guys whose emails were hacked and which changed the 2016 election. So it's interesting how both these subjects you're bringing up, they're intertwined with one another. And it's also just interesting to think about why all of a sudden for 100 years you're crazy if you question things going on in the sky. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, there's stuff going on. And I don't know. I think that should be like 9/11 level coverage. Like, right? I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, 100. You mean you're talking about like what's going on in Jersey and New York? Actually, not even those places.
Not even just there. Remember a couple of years ago when the Tic Tac UFO, they called it the Tic Tac UFO, came out and all that stuff?
Rush, I think it was, that released that, or David Rush.
That was those three people. Those were the three people that had that release. Were the three people I talked to: Luis Elizondo, who used to work for the Pentagon, Tom DeLonge, and then also John Podesta. And they worked with the senator too. I want to say it's
out of Ohio. I think it was. I think it was the senator. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but then also, but he's a dirty scumbag. I know that.
Was he? Is it the one with the like really heavy country southern accent?
Hold on, I'll find out right now. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, okay, now all of a sudden it's like you're crazy for looking into it, and everyone was called lunatics, and now it's like the government, the news, and the Vatican are all saying, and the Vatican comes out, it's like, yes, God does have other creations, and I'm just like, why the sudden turn? Why the sudden turn? It's just weird to me.
Right. Oh yeah, there's a I'm super cautious about this one because I've been following. Well, let me back up here because I'm gonna write that down really quickly. But what I wanted to ask you
Harry Reid. Sorry, it was Harry Reid of Nevada.
Harry Reid. Yeah.
He's a dirty bag of crap.
I'm not sure if that's the one that I'm thinking of. 2012 NASA. The interesting part about that video that I was watching earlier, or listening to earlier, was that Podesta was even mentioned within the conversation of I had no idea within the conversation of UAP. What does that have to do? What does he have to do? Can you fill me in on that?
Yeah, so it's weird because first of all, there's the whole gate of pie that he's involved with,
right?
But he's also been one of the leaders working behind the scenes to have UFO disclosure. And he also, not only that, he is one of the three people that is responsible for getting those videos of the Tic Tac UFO and a couple other ones from our own military, along with the guy from the Pentagon and the dude from Blink 182, releasing that to the general public. So he's a major player that nobody talks about and nobody does enough research on. I would love for you guys to do some research on John Podesta and his brother, and their very interesting art collection. Just to say that for there. But it's fascinating to me, and honestly, I don't have a good answer because I don't know why this guy who is Hillary Clinton's former campaign head wants to disclose UFOs. To me, he's not a really good guy. So I'm thinking there may be some ulterior motives here, and there's some theories, but I just don't know.
Do you think it would be because that it would actually discredit the reality of what potential truth is behind that? There is definitely some truth. There's definitely evidence of actual UAPs. I mean, it goes as far back into ancient history, but as far as recent recorded history in modern times, it goes as far back as the early 1800s. When did the camera start? I think it was like early 1800, right? Or
Yeah,
late
camera was created in the 1830s and rose to
1830s.
prominence in the 1850s and 60s.
Right. And then recorded video actually started becoming like 1920, 1930, somewhere around there, I believe.
There was even some basic recorded video in the late 1800s, if I'm recalling correctly. And then there was one of the first movies, the popular movie, like the guy going to the moon. That was like in 1910. So they've had recordings for a while, but in 1920s and 30s is when people started really going to cinemas and getting newsreels when they were going to the cinemas and stuff like that.
Right.
But
and
sorry.
Well, yeah, because I was just saying, like, we do have evidence of something
and that's the point, right? And that's the thing. And you and I actually talked about this behind the scenes the other day. So there is something up in the sky. We have many quote unquote credible and also people that would be deemed not credible. We have videos, we have millions of eyewitnesses. I've seen one, I've filmed one myself and put it up on YouTube and Facebook. A UFO or UAP is just something that's unidentified and in the atmosphere. So we know that. But what we don't know is, are they aliens? Are they angels? Are they our government? Are they as yet some unexplained scientific phenomena that we're unaware of? Are they humans from the future, time traveling, coming to back? Are there creatures that are living beneath the oceans that have been here before us and they're not extraterrestrial? I don't know. Could it be any one of those or a combination of one of those? Absolutely. But what we do need to recognize at the end of the day is our government has lied to us before. And it's weird to me why all of a sudden now they're making it be known. And then there's different people have had the theory for a long time where it's Operation Bluebeam, and they'll fake Jesus or they'll fake Muhammad or they'll fake an alien invasion, and they'll either say it's okay, we're peaceful, follow us and we will get rid of genocide, or it could be like, hey, you stupid earthlings, we're coming to get you. And then Donald Trump will give a big fat kiss to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and say, we need to make a one world government, a one world army as humans. And then Will Smith will fly up in a jet plane. And so you can see this going a number of ways, but it's weird that it's actually happening in our lifetime now that they're saying, hey, yeah, UFOs are real. And hey, it's John Podesta telling you.
Right.
Weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, that is very strange, and in fact, even Luis Elizondo being one of the spokespersons on the UAP UFO thing is a little suspicious too, because his background doesn't seem to be like. I don't know if you paid attention to the congressional hearings of the so-called disclosure. There wasn't really much being disclosed, other than the fact that I think it's David Grush, one of the other guys there, was saying that that the U.S. has recovered some form of biologics, whatever that means. They didn't say it was bodies.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, they didn't say it was bodies. They didn't say it was a life form. They was like, oh, that we can do that in a skiff, and that kind of tells you like, okay, maybe there's more to that, but it doesn't say it on paper or on recording whether that is. But they did say biologics, whatever that means. That could mean anything. I mean, it literally could mean that the thing is biological in itself. Like you said, something scientific that's just we don't have the explanation of. But the thing is that they think the public. I mean, there's people that have been out there, UFO followers that have been out there for decades documenting this stuff. A lot of them are pretty much out there, but there are a few that are in tune with all this stuff. I don't know if you follow Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp.
George Knapp,
I would probably trust George Knapp's information, and I think I trust Jeremy Corbell's information. Not, like I said, I don't put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to these things. I do think that they're more transparent than obviously the government's going to be, and they can only go as far as what the government will release. And also they have witnesses that they're trying to protect too, which I do understand. I think that's important because the government does threaten these people that have sensitive information, security clearance, all that nonsense. But yeah, what is strange is that someone like Podesta being linked to a reveal or a disclosure of UAPs or UFOs or whatever supposed alleged extraterrestrial life, which I don't think it's extraterrestrial at all. That's my opinion. But it's just strange, like you said, that someone like that would be linked to it, and Luis Alessandro being, somewhat accused as being a disinformationalist, I guess.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, you just got to look at what we got, right? So just
Sure.
because somebody worked for the Pentagon, does that mean they're automatically bad? No, but that's something that you're going to always have to keep in the back of your head, because, I mean, how many people work for the Pentagon and then they're saying, I mean, just think about it logically, right? I mean, it's suspect, right? Because it's like, all right,
Yeah.
you work for the Pentagon. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Now you're saying things, and now you're trying to expose Pentagon stuff, and the Pentagon's just letting you chill. Maybe that could be true, but at the end of the day, I mean, I've interviewed this dude, John Kiriakou. He was the guy that blew the whistle on the Bush administration use of torture, making international news in 2004. Amazing guy, political prisoner, dope dude. But he was in the CIA. Now I've hung out with this dude. He's invited me to his house one time to do an interview. Do I think he's a bad person? No, I think because I do think that there are people that were in the system that we can trust, right? But we don't trust anybody. Stone Cold Steve Austin, we don't trust anybody. But that doesn't mean we completely write them off. But at the back of the day, in the back of your head, you're gonna remember, oh, this guy's CIA. They're trained to lie. This guy's Pentagon. That's what they're trained to do. They admit it on video, so you always got to keep that in the back of your head.
No, yeah, definitely facts. I totally understand that for sure, and I agree with you on that. I think too is that what you were saying too, like being suspicious on the fact that, like, why would they, and besides Podesta or Luis Alessandro or whoever, the government being involved in any of this, is that the fact of the matter is there's been congressional hearings or unofficial officials presenting these things of this so-called disclosure, and it's actually come to a head. There was a document or an executive order that Trump had signed prior to him leaving his first administration, something concerning him along the lines of releasing UAP information allegedly. And so it's interesting that it's coming to a head now that he's about to be coming into office. And also there's also a video, I don't know if you remember it, I can't remember her name off top, but there's a video from, like, I believe 2012, and it was I think she had said that she had spoke to Werner von
Braun, famous Nazi rocketologist.
Yeah. And apparently, I guess on his deathbed or something like that, or what was told to her allegedly is that the last card, she said the last card. The first one was the meteorites, and then it became the fake alien invasion. So it's interesting that now that we're coming to this Agenda 2030, the whole Great Reset, New World Order thing, and this is now becoming a factor. Now, it could be two things, and this is just my opinion, just my observation. I do think that we have an actual, whatever it is, artifact that's floating around in our skies, and it's been there and it's been here. I think it's been here since at least as long as we've been here as human beings, as a civilization. And then there's another thing that's involved here. There has to be some type of mimicking. I don't even think it's back engineered technology, although Stephen Greer would disagree with that probably. But
at the end of the day, all those
technology that's trying to mimic whatever that is, so that, yeah, I do think that they're going to try and plan some type of fake invasion type thing. And Trump also put into power the next branch of military, which was Space Force. So it's like, what's going on,
And you know what? Like, we don't really know at the end of the day. Like, Stephen Greer, he doesn't know. George Knapp don't know. There's only a few people. And something that was very telling is, and it just goes to show, it really doesn't make a difference. We'll talk about Donald Trump or whatever, and I guarantee you I'll tell you some stuff about Donald Trump that's verifiable, that's factual. that you guys can look up from independent sources and verify. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because you and I both know Trump's not running the show. And so when
As
we
much as
have this
people
stuff going on,
think that he's not.
so when Trump is like, okay,
Right.
oh yeah, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out what's going on with the drones. No, you're not. Like Bill Clinton tried to go into Area 51. Donald Trump didn't figure out what's going on in the CIA. He's not. The thing is, that's just letting you know. Like even the president-elect, the former president, doesn't know what's going on. And the military's dumb right there, lying to us again, saying, "Oh, we have no idea what's going on." Like, yes, you have to know what's going on. You guys
Right.
can track any and everything. You got all those drones have GPS in it. Everything has things that you can monitor. There's video everywhere. There's cameras, radio everywhere. Like the radar everywhere, GPS everywhere. I don't understand how these guys saying, "Oh, we're going to look into this." They're saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to look into this and figure out what's going on." But we also do know this about the drones. Okay, so you don't know where they came from, where they're going. You don't know anything about anything going on over your airspace, but then you know other certain facts about them. That doesn't make no damn sense whatsoever.
And I do think that there's a display of some type of technology that's not publicly available, because some of these drones have been reported to be up there for like 5, 8, sometimes even 24 hours, and they're as big as SUVs, apparently, allegedly, from some of these people that are reporting them. So that has to be and this is no noticeable like propulsion system other than, you know, whatever rotors that are on these things. So there has to be some form of, I don't know. I think we are seeing a development of a technology that is not publicly available right now. Also,
the thing is, if they let us have drones, and they've let us have drones now for how many years? Like 5, 10 years. We've been able to buy drones, and good drones, and they get better and better. Bro, you know they have SUV type stuff. You know they have way better than that.
Of course. Absolutely, 100%. But the thing is, like, I think what the shock is to some people that are paying attention to this stuff is that for them to be up there that long, battery powered is.
It's probably, well, maybe,
You know,
but at the end of the day, bro,
I don't even know if it's battery powered. It could be powered by something else. Someone suggested, and I know Joe Rogan, he had someone on there that was saying that it could be cold fusion. And I did read an article that scientific breakthroughs have supposedly, allegedly, have confirmed that they are able to do cold fusion. So I don't know. This
the
could
thing
be
is, we don't know. So take it back full circle, right? So I mean,
you're right. That's fair.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, we don't know. But if you want to know about, I mean, the U.S. Okay, so we go back to the 30s. The Nazis had this program called the Glocke, or the Bell, right? And it was a program they were working on to levitate through alternate forms of propulsion, a bell-shaped UFO, and they were working on it. And then the person you just brought up, Werner Braun, a Nazi war criminal, came over and helped NASA, the occultists, and the Freemasons, and then what happens? So then there's even videos of old U.S. things that were like saucer shaped, and they try to think of them like, oh, but they could never find good propulsion, or it wasn't feasible, or this or that. Bro, they've been working on this technology. The Glocken was nearly 100 years ago. So to think that they haven't mastered these alternate forms of propulsion, they've gotten something over there. I mean, God only knows the type of technology that they have. And then just relating that to AI and these crazy videos out here. When AI first came out, I could tell them all apart. I could tell if the thing was whatever. There was a video. Now, I knew it was a fake, but they had one with LeBron and Diddy, and I was like, my God, this AI is good. So right now, I mean, they could have. We don't have any idea if Kamala and Harris or Trump, they could have been off 7 years ago. And we got these videos, because if they're letting us play with these drones and this AI now where we can make our own videos and fool people, God only knows what they've had for 20, 30, 100 years.
That is very fair. That's a fair stance on that. And I agree with you on that. Because I over the years doing, you know, research into things and learning things from you too, is that the military or the secret society of the government within the government, call it the deep state, whatever you want to call it, has always been like 50. Some people even suggest that they're even 300 years ahead of the you know the common folk, the common public. All of these billionaire technological companies such as Elon Musk. I mean, now I don't know how far deep into the mud he actually is, or how far deep into the mud that they're actually willing to let him go. I do think he's controlled opposition. To some degree, I do think he is. Whether he knows it or not, I don't know. Because I do think there's a bit of a power struggle between. I think there's an appearance of power struggle.
There's definitely an appearance of power struggle. We can agree on that.
There's an appearance of power struggle, but this power struggle is being beneficial on both sides to somebody or some bodies. So, with that said,
well, that's the thing. They can't just walk all over us. They got to give us some fake opposition. And now I just want to clarify. I'm not. Well, I did mention the Freemasons, but that doesn't mean that I think all Freemasons are bad, or even Freemasonry in general is bad. But there have, just like any human organization that has humans in it, there's going to be some good and some bad. I mean, we could spend an entire show just talking about Freemasonry, but at the end of the day, we don't know. We're not Freemasons. We weren't there in the history. We don't know. But to your point, Albert Pike wrote, he said, hey, whenever the people, I'm paraphrasing terribly here, but whenever the people need a leader or a revolutionary, don't worry, we'll supply them. We'll supply them. And we shouldn't think it's any different, because the real leaders that we've had, they've all been assassinated, right? They've all been unalived. Because you know how they say grape now? I just thought I was dying the other day. I said assassinated. I can't get over that. So if anybody doesn't know what assassinated means, it means unalive. That's the new term that we're using. But so yeah, and so now they supply us with these leaders. Don't worry. We'll destroy Fritz Springmeier. Jordan Maxwell. He'll pass on. David Icke will mostly shut him up. All the truthers that were real out there, we'll delete and ban their accounts. But don't worry, because you got Alex Jones, you got Russell Brand, you got Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. I mean, shoot, these are your heroes now. Yeah, that's the thing, is we're given fake. Everything is given to us, right? Once you hit like a teenager, they have certain different buckets or personality boxes that you can get into. It's like, okay, you could be a hip hop kid, or you could be an emo kid, or maybe you're an anime kid. But don't worry, whatever it is, it's something that we've mostly got control over anyway. So don't worry, kids. We've got a prepackaged entire thing. And maybe you're a Democrat. Cool. We got you. You like this? We got you right there. But if you start talking about anarchy or the real true things, then you're a loser. You're a crazy person, and you're ostracized from society. You're
the real tinfoil hat wearer. You're the real conspiracy theorist.
And you know something else I wanted to talk about too? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, after this, we'll get into that. We can go into so wrapping up this part, like with the whole drone stuff. What do you think is actually, in your opinion, what do you think is actually going on? What do you think is going to happen after, heading into 2025, into 2030, concerning that issue? Do you think that's going to become more of a thing? It's going to be more prominent? This so-called disclosure going to come out? What do you think do you think Project Bluebeam is actually a legitimate program that's going to be implemented in the near future to set up this new world order, great reset?
Good question. So I'll tell you what, back in the day, it was a lot easier to predict what these people are going to do. Now it's very difficult. I would say, and I'm glad you brought it back to this point about Project Bluebeam, is I do think, though, people have woke up a little bit. And now there's good and bad to that too, but I do think it would be very difficult for them. I mean, they didn't pull off 9/11 swiftly. The events that occurred in the year prior to 2021, that didn't get pulled off as good as they wanted it to. I just don't know now, because like some of this AI stuff can backfire, because now people are skeptical. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they're gonna. Honestly, I thought maybe years ago that was a real possibility, but now I'm like, I don't know if people are gonna buy that. But I'll tell you what, one of the things that you will see more common is you will see more things up in the atmosphere. And that's great, because of something you just named, is a whole new place for the military, our tax money to go to, which is Space Force. And also, instead of the future that you and I thought we'd see, which would be dope flying cars, and we'd all have our flying cars. No, there won't be any flying cars, but we will get used to Space Force doing weird stuff above us and in reaction to other things, and we'll also see. We're also going to start getting used to Amazon and other company drones just flying overhead, corporate drones. Now you can't have your own little dirigible, you can't have your own flying car or your own thing, but you're going to have to get used to these drones flying over. And I will say one more point about this too. This is just yet another level of surveillance, and it's funny because just to wrap a bow on these drone things. One, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, there's drones over New Jersey. Oh, the world's crazy." But last Memorial Day or Labor Day, I'm not sure which it was, but last Memorial Labor Day, New York Police Department, NYPD, were illegally, and they announced that they were going to do it. This is how brazen they are. They said, "Hey, we're going to fly our drones," and they did, over people's houses, regular people having barbecues, not people that had warrants. And they did, and they were just terrorizing people on a holiday. But even worse than that, and nobody really cared when that was happening. But the funny thing is, I did a video the other day, and I named it a very clickbaity name. I said, "Live U.S. citizen unalived by drone." And it's crazy because, wow, you would never think. But yes, actually, as a matter of fact, Abdul Rahim al-Awlaki, a 16-year-old boy. Now, this happened about a decade ago. And when I went to go do more research on this recently, I think there's been 5 now, including a young girl, his sister.
Yep.
The U.S. government has unalived children who are United States citizens by a drone. That's not news. It's news, but you don't hear about it, right? And so people are saying, "Oh, I wonder what's going to happen with drones." Bro, they already are flying over our houses illegally with drones, and they've already unalived multiple people, including a 16-year-old boy who was a U.S. citizen. No judge, no jury, no warrant, just a executioner coming right at your head, little kid.
Yeah. They were trying to get his father, I think, right?
Yes.
And they ended up getting him. And that was under I believe it was under the Obama administration. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think that this is also a precursor to allow surveillance. I do think that the SUV stuff, the orb stuff, I can't really explain. I don't know what those things are, and I do think they're trying to investigate that too at the same time, while also utilizing these drones. If you go in downtown Providence, I don't know how, if you've been down there recently. I know that it's been a while for me, but the last time that I was down there, I noticed police drones flying overhead left and right, like just flying them over. Providence police just flying their drone. You could tell what they are. You could tell which ones they are. They have the lights on. They're flying around. They're just doing their surveillance stuff. And I do think that's what we're heading into. We're heading into the next phase of the surveillance state, the of having actual drones just hovering over whole city blocks in swarms, and just kind of just staying there and just looking at the activity of what people are doing. And when they see something that they think an AI is obviously going to power these things, like as far as their processing, and if they find something that's disturbing or something that's out of place, those drones are going to like, okay, we got to go over here and like, what are you guys doing? You know what I'm saying? And intervene. And then on top of that, they're going to have these RoboCop type fucking humanoid things and whatever. And they do have those. DARPA and Boston Dynamics, Lockheed, look all that stuff up. I mean, it's bananas what they have now. These things can do flips. That's not CGI. These things can run, do flips. It's just a matter of time.
Eric Adams, New York City mayor, already has it was probably like 6 months ago now. I don't know if you saw it, but he showed off the robot dog and the other robot. And I mean, and also fun fact about Eric Adams, him and the police chief went to it, and you guys can look this up too. There's news articles about it. Eric Adams bringing you robotic dogs and unaliving people. Also met, while we're on the same topic, with the chief of police in a secret ceremony to become Master Masons.
Master Masons.
On the news too. Couldn't believe it. And they went to a secret location in a secret place. So just so you guys know what's going on out there, it's really weird, man. We're living in the dystopian future that True warned us about all those years ago.
Yeah. I don't know if I was the only one that was warning about it, but I think I've seen it coming. I think you've seen it coming. That's the chess pieces that I see as far as where the drones go, and I do think those are the military knows exactly where they are and what they are and who they are and who's operating them. It's not. I don't think it's China. It's possible. But that's all false flag stuff, in my opinion. That's all going to be false flag stuff. If there's anything that happens from that region, it's going to be false flag. It's all planned. I mean, the whole border being open, it's all designed that way. And I know, you and I have gone back and forth as far as like the policy on open borders and stuff like that. But I think as well as I do that they've been using it for a precursor to destabilize the inside of.
I disagree with that.
You disagree? Okay. Well, I mean, I do think also it's also a big.
Their new thing is they want homegrown terrorists. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that word, but that's what they want. And we've been seeing that for a while since the 90s with Koresh and stuff like that. They obviously, as you know, they want to say that that open borders is a good thing. So they're not going to, which I agree with, but I have a more nuanced position than they do. They don't actually say open borders is a good thing. They lie. Even the Democrats don't like open borders. I actually do like open borders, but they don't want to do that because they want to get as many people here so they can get as much tax money as they can. And then if they have like a illegal person or a Chinese person coming through the southern border, that's going to mess up their plan. Mm-hmm. I don't see them doing that. Now that could be true. You could be right. But I don't see them anytime in the near soon time even running somebody through, because that's just gonna make them look bad, and then I think that would backfire. I think for them, but I could be wrong.
I do think. I mean, it could be how you're saying, but I do think, in my opinion, I do think that, and because I've seen a weird video of like guns being attached to people coming over through that border. Now, whether or not of if this old video or I don't know, I can't. I
don't know if you know this, but I spent like a good month, basically in McAllen, Texas last year, which is about, depending on where you are in McAllen, Texas, 12 to 6 miles from the border. I could walk to the border, right? Mm-hmm. And I went to the border several times. I've been to Mexico a couple times. Mm-hmm. And now, the truth is, we don't know. It's just pretty much like everything, but it's definitely not what the Democrats tell you. It's definitely not what the Republicans tell you. Now, I got video of like, okay, so there's different lines, right? So some people on the border, some people just coming into Mexico, hey, I'm going down for the day, whatever. Some people coming back, oh, I'm going in the U.S., whatever, cool. Then there's some people that just go over for the day and come back. They go on either side, right? But then there's this little thing where these white vans, and shout outs to Year Right the Matrix for documenting this. They have these white vans, and I've got it on video. He's got it on video many times, that they're taking people, and God only knows what they're doing, because we don't know at the end of the day. Are they trafficking people? I don't know what they're up to, but they take them through, and I don't know why. Some people have to wait. Some people can go by through a day. Some people go right through, and then some people come through on these buses. And sometimes they drop them off in this place where it's like this Catholic charity downtown, and they're giving some money, and then they're giving bus tickets somewhere else. But then that money is coming not just from Catholics, coming from other people too. So it's a really weird situation where some people are coming, some people aren't going. And one of the things is, when they keep things undocumented, is now, if you or I went missing right now, for better or for worse, we have a driver's license and Social Security. We have a trace. We're in the matrix as of right now, unfortunately. However, if you start taking people from other countries that nobody's over here looking for them, There's no way those people are going to say, and they don't got a birth certificate or ID or nothing like that. I mean, imagine the possibilities that these people could have doing that. So at the end of the day, we don't know what's going on in the border, but I'll tell you what, just going down there filming and seeing some of the Matrix videos, there's some weird stuff going on in the border. And then there's people like, there's some places where it's just nothing, and there's some people it's really secure. It's a very interesting place down at the border. And the thing is, Democrats and Republicans, they don't go down there unless it's a photo op. They have no idea what's going on over there either. But it's and one more thing while we're on this subject, which is really crazy, just because they love security. As we're driving back from Texas, like we was up at the border. Well, I'm telling you, we was like 5-10 miles from the border where we were staying. Yeah. Then maybe like 40, 50, 70, 90 miles in. I don't know. It's at least 40 miles in Texas, north. There's a random checkpoint that you have to go through. It's creepy, bro. There's random checkpoints like up in the south. And it's just like, bro, this ain't the border. You can't stop me. Like, it's weird, bro. I had to throw all my weed away. They didn't stop me, luckily, but I was mad. I had to throw all my damn weed away.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird, man. So they got a system going on.
Oh, they for sure do. Yeah. I've seen video of people getting like pulled over, not pulled over, but they checkpoints like 50 miles away from the border, like not even close to the border. Yeah.
That's where I was. I was at one of those at like 50, 40, 90 miles. I forget how many exactly.
And
bro, there's right? And I will tell you this. My boy was taking someone we know, I'll leave it at that, our friend, to the airport down in whatever the closest one to a McAllen is, right? Now this person is Asian, okay? And I just want you to, this is crazy, bro. I'll say this while we're on the situation, because everyone talks about immigration, but they don't go to the border. They don't really know what's going on. And I've been to the border. I've been into Mexico. I've been through the border on the Arizona side, been over there in Cali too. So it's like, this person was at an airport and there's like, you look Asian. They take which they are, they take them out of the airport and they move, and then they put them in some immigration facility, right? And then they move them to another immigration facility, and they're basically in jail, and they can't get in contact with the outside world, can't get anything. And the crazy thing is, this person is legal and legally allowed to be in the United States and has documents proving it. And for like 2 or 3 weeks, we're held captive by the U.S. government. And bro, like we're getting in touch with lawyers. They're like, bro, this month it's got the papers right here. Like, what? Why? And then they were like, oh, well, they moved into another facility. Oh, we'll only get 1 phone call a day. It is crazy what is going down at the border. And the truth is, nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. That was crazy, bro. We actually had to stay in Texas for like an extra 2.5 weeks because our friend was detained. And then we go to this one site, and bro, it's creepy. It looks like a weird jail. We roll up and, oh, you can't be here, and no cameras and this and that. It's weird. They're doing something very weird, and I wish I knew what it was.
Yeah. It sounds like concentration camp level, like preparation.
And I just don't know how. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? It's how, like, okay, because I'm at the border and I see people just coming, and then I see people that are stopped, and then you see people that are here legally, and then they're put in a cage for 2-3 weeks, and it's like, how is this making any sense? How is this making any sense? Right. Yeah. One of the biggest parts of the border that we haven't talked about is the fact that since the war on drugs happened, and people don't realize that when they made alcohol production illegal with prohibition, they went and got a constitutional amendment, even though what they did was inherently unconstitutional. At least they bothered to go get a constitutional amendment. They never did that with the war on drugs. The United Nations basically told Richard Nixon, and Richard Nixon just said, okay, yeah, we got that. And it's like, well, that's not legal. And so every single day, all officers, just on this one alone, let alone many other things, violate their oath to the Constitution. But also, when they keep the drugs illegal, that's when we know the CIA with the drug trafficking and how there's other people involved in our politics that are involved with the cartels. And then you got a very interesting situation going on at the border, which is very complex, and I'm glad we can, I mean, just even discuss it more than just like the basic left right talking point, because there's something going on there. The news don't know about it, I don't know about it. There's only a few people that really know what's going on, and I would love to get to the bottom of it. I would love for people that were in these white vans to come forward and talk with us, because it's very interesting.
Well, I do think that because I think this is a good segue in to get into the next topic here, is that I do think that the border being open as it is, one, I do think that it's a precursor to let in certain groups under so-called radar and implement some type of other events that are going to happen, false flag events that will happen in the future. But also, I do think that child trafficking is heavy now, coming from that point of entry. It's always been heavy over there, but I think it's more prominent now. And I do think that a lot for some of the bigger discussions or the bigger concerns, it wasn't only just people getting in here illegally. It was because of the children that were coming over here. No one knew who their parents were, guardians were, where they could send them. So they're being stationed there. And then also, I've seen articles, I've seen other videos, whether or not it's true or not. It appears as though that there's some type of child trafficking occurring at the border as well, and it's being distributed out throughout the country.
I guarantee you that's happening. That's happening everywhere for sure. And
it's $1 billion industry, and that's another thing that people don't understand. It's child sex slavery and all that stuff. It's like $1 billion industry on unofficial. What do you call it?
I mean, you can't obviously tally it all up, the numbers.
Yeah, it's just as $1 billion industry as the war on drugs were, which is basically CIA government taking control of drugs so that they can distribute it outward and make billions of dollars off that. Politicians, look up Bill Clinton on that, actually.
Look up Bill Clinton, look up Iran Contra, whichever one you want. Yeah. Gary Webb. Kill the Messenger, the Hollywood movie. So I mean, that's the thing is, there's definitely a lot more going on, and that's why I really appreciate shows like yours that get to talk more than just what these guys are talking about. Because even as I talked about earlier, even the new mainstream people like the Joe Rogan and all these other people, they don't get into these heavy conversations, and they're usually parroting one of the talking points. They're not really going into nuance, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, like one thing, since you brought Joe Rogan's show up, I do watch Joe Rogan. I do like, some of the people that he does have on there. One that really kind of disappointed me was when he had The Rock on, and this was like a few months after the Maui fires had occurred, and apparently The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Oprah collaborated on getting funds for these people that suffered these fires out there that sprung up. I mean, we're going to go into the possibilities of why that occurred and how that occurred, because there's other weird how the state responded, how the governor responded out there, or the mayor, and insurance claims and all that stuff. But the going back to the Joe Rogan show, when he had The Rock on there, Rogan did not press him on like what was actually going on, because Rogan actually had a guest on there prior to that with Tulsi Gabbard, I think it was, and in fact, that if you watch that interview, I can't remember who the other man was, but I know he was with Tulsi Gabbard, and more information. I mean, Rogan didn't really press upon it, but the guy that was on there actually gave more information, like, the state wasn't doing anything, and he thinks that they were started from other means, like it was like man-made started, which I lean towards that, just on what happened where they were blocking people off. They weren't letting people get out of where the fires were coming out of. Supposedly it was a power line, but there was a power line, but then it sprung up in another area, like a few, I guess, I think maybe a mile or two away from where the fire supposedly started. People were actually barricaded, at least on their vehicles, not unable to get out of where the unable to get out of the island, or unable to get away from where the fire was occurring. So that's and Rogan has kind of touched based on that, like kind of like he did mention some of that stuff. But the thing is, he mentions it and has a conversation with someone that's not actually involved, like feet on the ground. And when someone that actually had feet on the ground into that situation doesn't press on those issues for whatever reason.
I mean, not only that, he had Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump over there, and he didn't press them on their war crimes or Donald Trump's atrocities. So exactly.
Another conversation that he had, that Rogan had, was with Trump, and I was actually a little bit disappointed on this one too. It was more like bros meeting and just having a kind of casual conversation, and whatever. But the thing was that one of the most important issues, other than the Epstein stuff that Trump is allegedly involved in, is that Rogan didn't press him on the COVID issue either. Trump, people forget the fact that Trump is responsible for Operation Warp Speed to get the vaccine out there. Now, you could possibly give Trump the benefit of the doubt that he may not have been well versed in who Fauci actually was. Possible. But the fact that the reporting of, and it was almost immediate that the reporting of the vaccine being harmful and having detrimental effects, some people just so far has been able to skate free, but not many haven't. So with that said, also, let's just throw it out there that the media tried to lie to us and say that this was from some wet market, that a bat bit somebody and then that spread the virus. Total absolute bullshit story. It worked for a lot of people. That's the sad thing. But then it started coming out that there was an attachment to Fauci in the Wuhan lab in China, and somehow there was $40,000 or $40 million worth into the research of gain of function, which, by the way, Rand Paul pressed him on during a congressional hearing, and a couple others. And so the thing, and Trump had to have become aware of all this stuff eventually towards the end of his term. And even if he didn't have a chance to do anything then towards the end of his term, he still hasn't come out throughout any point in the last 4 years throughout the campaign running again, saying like, oh yeah, the vaccine was a big mistake, we got to go after Fauci. Despite the fact that he has any alleged relationship with Epstein, I wouldn't say that would completely redeem him, but that would at least say like, okay, maybe this guy has some type of reality to the reality. Maybe he's actually here and has a way of trying to get rid of these people for doing the harm that they're doing. And maybe his alleged relationship with Epstein, he's going to come out with some discovered plan or whatever. But the fact that he hasn't even come out there and hasn't even denied the fact that the vaccine has been harmful and the virus itself is actually attached to these people like Bill Gates, Epstein.
He's still bragging about it. He still brags about it. Even like a few months ago, at one of his rallies, he was like, "When we brought you the vaccine, the beautiful vaccine, this and that," and even the audience was booing him. He was booing him. He's like, I brought it to you, warp speed.
Yeah.
That's just one of many things. The Epstein things, the vax things, and that's the thing.
Sorry, I just want to. Which, by the way, is that the people who are like hardcore, like about Trump, those are the type of people that go to his events. The fact that people were booing him by saying that tells me that they're not completely taken over by it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that they see him as a more reasonable candidate, probably the better candidate out of the candidates that I guess were available. Definitely better than Biden.
I disagree with that. I disagree.
I'm just saying. I'm speaking for. Maybe I'm
For them,
speaking
for them, yeah. No, I could see that. And that's what people say a lot too. Once I beat people down with facts, and they were like, "Well, you're still better," and I'm like, "Okay, first of
Right.
all, probably not, but second of all,
Right.
okay, so like, okay, so you're telling me that somebody that more like has done literally worse things than Biden, right? Like, I mean, if we can just say him, I'll just say him. I mean, the thing is, like, that's not a good argument to support somebody at the end of the day. Well, yeah, sure, he hired all of Epstein's friends, and yeah, probably he diddled some of them too, and yeah, he brought us the vaccine, and yeah, he said he was gonna lock her up and didn't, yeah, he said he was gonna build a wall and didn't, and yeah, he said he was gonna drain the swamp, but he had the worst swamp ever, and yeah, he took back everything he said, but he's still better. Like, bro, none of these people are good. They all lie to us. And the thing is, I understand like why somebody votes for Obama the first time. I understand why someone, like you said, I understand why someone votes for Trump the first time. But it comes down to the famous saying of my favorite personal hero, George Bush, who said, "Fool me can't get fooled again." Right? So it's like, okay, you vote for Obama the first time, okay, cool. But the second time, Trump the second time, bro, wilding.
Yeah. The for me that's one of the big issues that has kept me. I mean, I'm always in a cautious, skeptical place when it comes to any of these politicians, any of them. I mean, Ron Paul was probably one of the better.
He's goated.
And his son Rand is definitely. But
his son Rand is a piece of trash who's like a basic Republican. Yeah, the thing is, like, literally his actual son was a guy named Justin Amash who only served like a term or two from Michigan, and they got his ass out of there. And that's not his biological son, but it's his ideological son. His son, and you know what my brother tells me, and he may be right, and I hope he's not right, that Ron Paul, because it seems like this happened. Either that or Rand Paul is just a bitch. But okay, and it all started from day one, right? Because in 2012, when Ron Paul was more popular than Mitt Romney, Ron Paul the father was running against Mitt Romney in 2012. And Rand Paul, at the end of it, like towards the end, but it hadn't been settled yet, Rand Paul said, "Yes, I'm standing by. I endorse Mitt Romney." And then they said, "Hey," and then they go to Ron Paul and they're like, "Hey, your own son just endorsed Mitt Romney. Are you ready to endorse Mitt Romney?" He's like, and you know, Ron Paul always starts, well, no, I'm not going to do that. Mitt Romney did this, that, whatever. And then it feels like, all right. It feels like, all right, we'll let Rand Paul in there, but he's just going to be like a baby version of you, basically like a half libertarian, half Republican. That's what he does. He's not any. Maybe it's just the genetics got messed up and the second breed with that dumbass curly hair.
I think someone may have been in his pocket. That's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? That's a dirty game.
We don't know. We don't know at the end of the day. But yeah, to your point, Ron Paul.
I just don't know why Rand wouldn't endorse his father, Ron Paul, who was clearly the better candidate. And I get it. And Rand, and you're right. Ron was above Mitt Romney. In fact, he would have been man. Could you imagine the debate between him and Obama? I mean, come on.
That's the thing. And so that's the thing. Like, if anybody wants to, one, learn things, and then two, watch something extremely watch politicians get owned, you're gonna want to go back and just type into YouTube Ron Paul debate highlights, and because literally he's on the stage there with the neocons and all the bad boys and all the terrible people, and he just owns them politely. He just owns the crap out of them, bro. And it's like, okay, so. And so, yeah, I definitely go study Ron Paul, and because Ron Paul, I believe, and so does my boy Elijah. I believe he's secretly an anarchist, Ron Paul, from the things he said. So, yeah, he did a good job in the system, I think. But I think, like, at the end of the day, I would never tell anybody to get into the system to make a change. I don't think you really can anymore. And I think at this day and age, like Ron Paul was doing it in a place where we didn't have social media and the internet, and even though it is controlled and centralized, like we discussed earlier, you could still just do a dumbass TikTok and get a bunch of views. You don't have to go into the system. So anybody saying, "Oh, I'm going to run for office and save things," nah, you're not. It's just not going to happen. I would advise against that.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, you're right. It's just unfortunate. I think he's way too old now. He was what, 70, 80 then, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he's an OG. And unfortunately, since then, there hasn't been a person that has been that principled from any of the third party candidates. I mean, there've been some better than others, for sure, but it's been tough. And they've co-opted that too, man. They've co-opted that too. And that's why, those people.
I remember him coming out and saying, like, yeah, I'm actually a libertarian, but I have to run as a Republican in order to get. I understood, I think everyone understood where he was coming from. Whereas, like, yeah, I'm a libertarian, but I have to run as a Republican because the Republican, it's
because otherwise you're not going to get on the debate stage. Exactly. And then if you don't get on the debate stage, you can't own those people, right? Yeah. So it's unfortunate. And the same thing happened on the left-hand side of things with Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader doesn't necessarily align, although he's on the left side of the chart for sure. But Ralph Nader, the same thing. He was ostracized by his own party. He was supposed to take place in the debate. Then they kicked him out of the debate. Then somebody made a press conference, got a ticket to the debate he was supposed to be in. And he said, hey, look, I give this ticket. And I want to give it to Ralph Nader so he can sit in and watch the debate he should be in. And so then they gave him the ticket. And then when not only did he have a ticket, but on the grounds of the debate, when he went there, Fox News had also invited him on the grounds to join in their trailer to be an analyst of the debates. So not only was he supposed to be in the debate, did he have a ticket to be in the debate? And Fox News was like, yeah, come through. You know what I'm saying? We'll chop it up. He has a ticket, and then he gets arrested for going to the debate. He should be participating, and then was banned from, then got a ticket from, then got another invite from. He got arrested. So that's what shows you, if you're on the left, you can't go through the system. And then even a more modern example, they stole 2 elections from Bernie Sanders. I don't like Bernie Sanders. He's a war criminal. He's a moron. But guess what? They came out and stole 2 elections from him. Now, if I don't believe elections, I don't think anybody should vote. But at the end of the day, in 2016, the people wanted to see Trump versus Bernie Sanders. I went to different rallies. I went to all their rallies. I confronted Bernie Sanders. I went to Trump rallies, got kicked out of Trump rallies. I confronted Tulsi Gabbard twice, Joe Biden 5 times. I went to all the rallies. Joe Biden had like 12 people. Donald Trump had thousands of people lined up outside. There were thousands of people at Bernie Sanders rallies. That's who the people wanted to see, for better or worse. If you want to live in a democracy, that's what we just wanted to see. But no, Hillary said, let me get them super delegates. You idiot. You think you have a choice? No. And then at that point, when we're in 2016, when we got like, okay, the NSA is admitting spying on us. We have none of our freedoms in the Bill of Rights. They're stealing election. It looks like they're trying to steal election from Trump. They stole the damn election from Bernie Sanders. And it's like, okay, let's just vote harder next time. Yeah. That'll stop all the illegal wars. And it's like, bro, we need to do something else. And I'm not imploring violence. Anybody that doesn't know anything about me, I should say my mission statement is to create a more altruistic world through nonviolence in the Socratic method. But yeah, voting is not going to cut it, folks. Especially when they're just telling you, oh yeah, the people like Ralph Nader, let's arrest him. Oh, the people like Ron Paul, let's make sure he doesn't get in the debates and has to run as a Republican. Oh, the people want Bernie Sanders? Okay, yeah, let's just destroy us. Just destroy him. Twice. Yeah. And then Bernie, like a coward bastard he is, then he turns around after getting the election stolen, talking about how important democracy is. He goes from 1 week saying, Hillary Clinton is not fit to be the president. Next week, he's like, our Lord and Savior Hillary Clinton should be the president. Yeah. And then he let Joe Biden grope children and women all through the Me Too movement and didn't say a damn thing. He's a coward bastard. Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, we know that they're all in bed with each other to some degree, and they're all in each other's pockets. They're all billionaires because of each other. Whether it be backdoor, what do you call it? Stock market exchanges or anything like that, whether it be money laundering in their capitalist, covering it under capitalism or anything like, stuff like that. And whether it be any criminal dealings like such as drugs and child trafficking and all that stuff. So, you know that these people, and I don't know if Bernie Sanders is involved in any of that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was, or the Clintons are for sure to some degree involved in criminal activity. I mean, Bill himself has been alleged attached.
Well, Bernie Sanders, the Clintons, and Trump and Biden, they're all involved in criminal activity. They're all literal war criminals. Everyone said, a lot of people on the left will say, well, Bernie Sanders, yeah, he was against war. No, he's not. If you go back and look at his voting record, which is available for free online, you will see that he did, in fact, vote for wars and military strikes and all sorts of military action, but he only did it when the Democrats were saying it. So he's a war criminal, and I could go on about him. Same thing with Joe Biden, same thing with Donald Trump. All these people continued these illegal wars. Joe Biden started the wars. Obama campaign saying, right with Biden behind him, saying we're going to get out of these illegal wars and all that stuff. They're all war. Hillary Benghazi, Hillary as a Secretary of State, Bill Clinton, from what he did domestically here in the United States. We're talking about Waco, Ruby Ridge, then what they did over there in Bosnia, and then what they I can't think of a president in the last 100 years that wasn't a war criminal or a member of Congress. Because, and people say, well, that wasn't a war, that was a military engagement. Well, the Constitution says Congress has the right to declare war, and then after they went to war illegally in Korea and Vietnam, then they had the War Powers Act, which basically said, no, again, in case you forgot, you have to ask Congress for a declaration of war. You can't just go to war. The last time we had a war that was actually declared by Congress was the Iraq War in 2003, and that was based on a lie about 9/11 and weapons of mass destruction. So so the U.S. has been at war almost every single year, especially the last 100 years, or had some military conflict somewhere. Democrats and Republicans are voting for that. And when you're voting for that, and when you're voting against the War Powers Act and the Constitution, engaging in illegal military action, you are a war criminal. These people are all war criminals, plus a lot of other things. On the left and the right, all of them, they're war criminals.
Complicit or otherwise, yeah, for sure, absolutely. Real quick, I got another about 10-15 minutes here. I want to get your opinion about, the recent things that have been going on in LA with the fires and stuff like that. And what do you think, if this is a man-made action? Is it relatable to Maui? Is it relatable to the prior 4 years or 6-7 years that so-called wildfires have been occurring? Now, I'm sure you know as well as I do that wildfires do occur. It's natural occurrence to some degree, but the rate of how some of these things have been occurring, especially out of LA, especially out of Maui, and the things that you may have uncovered, if you haven't, I have some information that maybe you might be interested in, but I want to know your opinion on what you think that is all about.
So now, I won't say that this wasn't man-made or there wasn't something to do with this, because do they have the technology? Sure. Have they manipulated weather going back at least into the 60s and 70s on record that they admit? Sure. But I think this was going to get to the point that I was talking about earlier, where it's like, remember how I was talking about earlier? They were like, oh, well, if you can be an emo person, you can be a Democrat, you can be a hip hop kid, a Republican, whatever. Now, in 2016, this goes to something that we talked about behind the scenes a lot, which is they gave us people were waking up under George Bush and the internet. And then they said, hey, let's give him Obama. That'll shut him up. Didn't work. And now they gave us Trump. And so Trump, mixed with the whole Q thing, they destroyed all the real truthers, like MicReal, like Titus Frost, people like myself, shut down our channels, other stuff like that. They gave us the new truthers, like I told you, Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro and all these other idiots, Alex Jones, all these other losers. And then what they do is they got a new conspiracy. So I'll say that to say this. I've been the black sheep of my family for a very long time. People I don't even talk about things anymore. It's really bad, right? I don't talk about anything anymore. So this last Christmas at the table, now there are two tables, but at the table I was sitting at, someone's like, hey, what do you think about this Luigi stuff? And I think it's very important to just, hey, it's cool to point out anomalies, but then it's also like, so now they've given us this new thing. Now you can be a conspiracy theorist. Don't worry. We have it already ready for you. And so I was just pointing out anomalies. Like, okay, if this guy really wanted to do it and let everybody know, I'm not as smart as this guy, I would have just live streamed it and been like, this is me. This is why I did it. Da da da. I wouldn't. And then he tried to get away, but then he did a shitty job of getting away, taking off his mask and leaving evidence. And then to top it all off, he's got this nice little note here that says, "Bro, if I wanted to let it be known, I would have went live. Everybody would have known. And if I wanted to get away with it, I would have just that dude's smarter than me. I know I would have planned that out in a way where I'm on the next flight to a country that doesn't have any extradition, and you will never see me again. And then I'll go live and I'll be like, yeah, bitch, I did that shit. You know what I'm saying? But then this guy gets caught in a dumbass way, and he's got a letter says, first of all, dear feds, I know you guys have a real tough job out there saving America. I want to make this real easy for you. Okay, that's weird. But then here's the weird part. Then my freaking family starts talking about, oh, well, there's a number 286 and there's a Pokemon 286. I'm like, you guys have been giving us this dumbed down version of truthing now. And I'll give you one more example of it before I get to my point. This last election, I heard, and also a shameless plug right here too. This last election, people were sharing on Facebook a lot. This post, it says, vote for whoever you want. There's 13 families that control everything. Which is interesting, and shameless plug right here. I have Fritz Springmeier, the author of 13 Bloodlines of the Illuminati, live. He's coming back live on my channel tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Nice.
I know Tru is a little interested in this dude, so hopefully Tru will tune in. But they got these mini truthers now, and so now so people are sharing that, oh, 13 Bloodlines of the Illuminati. It's like, bro, you don't know where that came from. First of all, you don't know if that's true. Then even if you did know that was true, you don't know the 13 families. You're just sharing stuff. Now these people are just making conspiracies look stupid. They're making like, oh yeah, now Luigi had 286 Pokemon in his collection, right? And it's like, bro, shut the hell up. And the same thing now, and now I'm taking it all back to the wildfires. Now, are the wildfires possibly man-made? I haven't even looked at any videos. I've looked at videos of other events in the past that are certainly suspect. But then people take it too far. They're like, oh, this house burned, but this tree didn't burn. It's like, bro, people don't build houses with wet wood in a tree, right? There's water inside of trees. The wood in your house. Now, there are other examples where like the car completely fried up out of nowhere, and then there might be like a piece of wood or paper next to it. It's kind of like 9/11 passport, that paper, right? It's kind of like the Tesla exploding truck, that paper, right? There's this magical paper. So there is weird stuff that goes on. I'm not shitting on that. But then people always take it a step further, and they're like, oh, well, I know this, and it's definitely man-made. And I'm not saying you're doing that, because you're not doing that. You've made it very clear that you're not. But it's like now it's like they've saturated everything. And I also will say too, I think that like the flat earth movement and a lot of these other dumbass movement that come along, I'm not saying the earth's not flat. It could be round. I don't care what the shape of the earth is, as long as there's still human trafficking and genocide and our freedoms lost. Thinking about the shape of the earth is stupid. It's okay to, like, in your downtime, go ahead and Google that or whatever, check it out, whatever. Maybe true, maybe false. I don't give a goddamn. If you want to unwind, cool. But if you're spending your whole life talking about the flat earth and we got all these illegal wars going on and they're trafficking kids, it's like, bro, this is like they're doing a lot of distracting. And so my answer to that is what I want to, and I've tried to bring to the movement my whole time is, and one more example of this is people will share quotes all the time of Rockefeller or Henry Kissinger or something like that, and I'll be like, source. And sometimes they'll find the source, but a lot of times they won't have a source because there is no source. It's a fucking made up quote, right? And so the thing is, the Democrats are lying to people. The Republicans are lying to people. The churches are lying to people. Everybody's lying to people. We're supposed to be the truthers, right? So if we come up and we say, oh, well, the first thing we tell them is a quote from Henry Kissinger, which is wrong. Well, we look pretty fucking dumb, don't we? We look pretty fucking stupid. So in order to have truth, in order to try to find truth, not that we're guaranteed it, because we're definitely not, But the best way that we've known to come up for it so far is the Socratic method, is continually question things. And you may not find the truth at the end of it, but take you where the evidence leads you and keep an open but skeptical mind. Just because there's a theory out there, like we talked about earlier, bringing it back to UFOs, there are we can agree, right? Unless we want to get really philosophically deep and do I even exist? Sure, but for all intents and purposes, there is some shit up in the sky. We know that, right? And like I said, could it be some scientific phenomena we don't know? Could it be UFOs, angels, demons, time travelers? It could be anything. It could be a combination, but we don't know. Same thing on 9/11. We know the official story doesn't add up. We know that. But we don't know if it was cold fusion. We don't know if it was lasers. We don't know if it's controlled demolition. We don't know if it was thermite. It could be all those. Not. But the point is, we need to point out the inconsistencies and we need to question things. But we don't need to supply a theory when we don't have all the evidence. Now, it's okay to present all the theories and speculate and discuss them, but it's wrong when we were like, oh, yep, these fires are definitely HARP, and I knew it from the beginning. Oh, the Earth is definitely flat, and it's like, bro, you don't know that. So we need to be careful because these people are coming from a life where they've been lied to, which is good in a way because it gives us an opportunity to reach them. And if the first thing we do is say, well, did you know our reptilian overlords, kamikaze, the twin towers to put fluoride? And it's like, bro. And that's what they've tried to do. And so that's what they've tried to do, especially now. So it's our job and to counteract that. And that's why I want to thank True Tim for having me, because he's somebody that's been a beacon where you can have not only doing things on the MC level, which is actually probably the best level, and we can talk about that another time or off camera if you want, but also in the streets, feeding the homeless, starting food drives, having these podcasts, having these guests, and having the discussions. We need to do this, and I'm going to say with my few minute or so, whatever time we got left here, I want to say, share his videos, share my videos. You can find me, FakeMicRealNews. Tomorrow I'm live on my channel with the return of Fritz Springmeier, the guy. Everyone you guys were sharing that post was 13 Bloodlines. Well, I'm going to speak with the author, as I have many times, Fritz Springmeier, a legend, tomorrow, and he's going to give you updates on all this stuff. We're going to be talking about the drones. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about 6 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Eastern time on FakeMicRealNews. And so I'll just say, True and I, we rely on you guys sharing the videos. The algorithms don't like us. The corporations don't like us. The governments don't like us. The Vaticans don't like us. Bill Gates don't like us. None of those people like us. And they control everything. But the only way we can get
whatever Zuckerberg said about something about free speech, total bullshit. They're gonna continue to censor. They're gonna continue to ban. They're gonna continue to keep the actual people who like Will Turbit, FakeMicRealNews, getting all that truther information out there, and doing the actual research and the actual footwork on trying to get this stuff. And yeah, all of these corporations, all of these apps. In fact, I don't even know if we went into real quick the whole ban on TikTok. I know that we were talking off camera. I'm not sure if we mentioned it earlier in the episode here, but we could recap. Is that my thing about the whole banning of TikTok is a precursor to actually dumb down or ban certain apps that people get information on and actually spread actual information on. That's the true reason why I think that they view TikTok as a threat. Shout out to everybody on TikTok that's viewing right now. Why they actually view TikTok as being a threat, because if you see all these videos, so-called, I don't know if you heard the term Dior bags, they use in I guess I'm going to put it out there, semi-app tri-snitch, but TikTok's getting banned anyway, I guess. The whole Dior bag thing is actually the term that's been used, what we've been talking about, the things flying in the sky. So people on there, they're very, they're pretty creative. They start using these terms so the video can circulate and stuff. It's pretty cool. But again, going back, the whole thing about TikTok getting banned, it's not because they're probably not too happy that people are making money on the app, and they really don't give a shit that China's siphoning data. They really don't care about that. Facebook's doing that. Instagram is doing that. X is doing that. That's Elon Musk's former Twitter. All of these apps are doing that. Even all of these apps are doing that. And you think that they're really concerned about TikTok stealing information? They're not. They don't care about that. They could give two shits about that. What they are concerned about is actual information that's circulating, like getting the actual footage of the so-called, the fires that are happening out in LA or Maui, or the flooding that happened out in North Carolina, or the UAPs that are up there, so-called Dior bags, and the child trafficking and all this stuff. All the Trump information, Biden information, political information, all of this news that is circulating on these apps, that's what they don't want. So if they can use TikTok and say, hey, China's siphoning data information on there, let's ban it. That's the precursor to get the legislation activated so that they can start banning all these other apps and then consolidate it, which I think you and I were talking off camera about this, offline about this, is that I think that it's going to be a consolidation of these apps such as Facebook, Instagram, and X, YouTube. That's like the conglomerate little thing right there. And I think X is ultimately going to be the actual app that everyone is supposed to be funneled into, which is the town hall. And what you were saying, which is, I think is, it's almost, I hate it, but it's almost brilliant on their end. They're consolidating the so-called truthers, such as the Rogans, the Carlsons, the I guess the Alex Jones, unfortunately, is in that category. And I hate to put him in that category because that's one of the people that actually woke me up so many years ago. But legends fall, I guess. But so I think you're right. I do think that you're onto something when you say that they're consolidating all of these so-called truthers and hijacking the actual truther movement. But I'm optimistic also because even whether it's on the left or the right, I do think that there are a lot of people that are just there. I just don't think they're. I think that that the system is very sophisticated, very, very brilliant in the way that it moves. But there's also people that are funding these things that their fucking IQ is just it's just not there. So at the same time, they're trying to make all of this become a weapon against the common society, but they're also simultaneously allowing this great awakening occur too, if you want to call it that. So I think two things are happening at the same time. But what are your ending thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So this is it goes to what I was talking about earlier when we started waking up under George Bush and then Obama. There has been awakening, and yeah, these people are smart, but I don't think they planned for the awakening, especially like what I would call I'm sure there's somebody's already coined this term, but to me the golden era of YouTube has got to be like 05 to like 13, 14, something like that.
Yeah.
And there was a real good awakening of people, and so there's good and bad, and I'll keep it as short as it has to be, which is usually not my forte. But the good news is the bad news is they've already centralized all these platforms, like we discussed earlier. They're already there. We're already at these centralized platforms, and they're going to continue to control things. But like you talked about earlier with the Dior bags, there's other ways that people have done that with other things too, where no matter what, humans are going to get around that. Humans are going to get around, and there's always going to be people that and memes are so beautiful because they're funny, right? The best ones are really funny, and you can't undo that. And so there's always going to be people that no matter how much they do things, like we're going to be able to get around the censorship in funny ways. But it's something I've been talking about for a long time. More and more people just need to go out in the middle of the street with a sign that says 9/11 truth ends war, Google building 7, or end the Federal Reserve System. And yeah, you're not going to change the world that night, but you're going to meet 4 or 5 like-minded people. And then you guys can get together like True and I did with a whole bunch of different people and get things moving. We need to, because if they're doing that digital stuff, cool. But also on the positive end, we do have to do our due diligence for sure, and we need to get out there more than ever, especially because they have been censoring us, and it's really bad. The real issue is not out there. It's already at the point 5 years ago where we should have been nonviolently in the streets. But luckily, government is, whether it's a constitutional republic or a monarchy or a dictator, government is the number one malefactor of all society. It's the number one unaliver. If people really care about waking people up and have empathy and care for people's lives, the number one problem is government. The top unaliver of all people is death by your own government, and it's a term called democide, democide, democide. And so that's the number one problem. By leaps and bounds, it beats everything else. All the other things we're talking about today are symptoms of that. And I'm going to give you a solution. It's called freedom. It's called anarchy. Everyone, it's a free book. Adam Kokesh, his book Freedom is available free online. It's less than 100 pages, explains it all. And Adam Kokesh has the distinct guy of being the most censored person in the world. Joe Rogan and Alex Jones claim they're the most censored. He's been censored by both of their podcasts because he's giving you a different solution, and it's without government. So I'll say that, and I'll say that to say this. The good news is, because government is the largest malefactor, the largest bad thing in all of society, what it does is it creates people that don't like it. So people get their kids taken from CPS. The prices are too high, or the roads are bad. The government's job, basically, unintentionally or intentionally, is to screw people over. So people get arrested. People that were bootlickers get arrested and detained and get harassed. It's always back to blue till it happens to you. So no matter what, people are going to run in with the government one way or another. And so what happens is, those people, that's an opportunity for us. And once we wake somebody up, once we plant the seed, they can never go back to sleep. So I would say, be careful what you plant your seeds with. I personally plant my seeds with the Federal Reserve banking system, with questions about 9/11, things that are hard, solid facts, so that they cannot deny it. And so they're like, oh, okay. And that they can look up for themselves and verify, right? So I would learn the most important things, and then you plant that seed. And then guess what? By nature of government, more pissed off people are going to come our ways, and you got to keep refining your seed. Remember, guys, keep an open but skeptical mind and apply the Socratic method to everything, and you guys will be absolutely fine. And I appreciate Tru for having me. And make sure you guys share my videos, share this fool's videos, because that's the only way we get out. Tim spends a lot of his free time. He's a father. He's an MC. He's a rhino hunter. He spends a lot of free time here doing this stuff. The least you guys can do, it's absolutely free. Smack the like, give us a comment, help the algorithm, and share these videos. I want you guys to all share this video right now on your Facebook timeline, on Facebook Messenger. Ask people what you think. Share it on a text message and email, and tell people on Twitch, share this video, man. Tim does a lot of hard work, man. The least you could do is share the motherfucking video. Because if not, you guys are going to be in a FEMA camp with me, and I'm going to be clowning all you losers, because I'm going to be like, I told you guys. So all you have to do is share a damn video. And you guys sat there.
You know what I'm saying? We're all going to be chilling in that FEMA camp, and we're going to be like, look, we told you. We tried to tell you.
You could have just shared Tru's video, but no, you wouldn't listen. I told you, man, no kids, but no, you wouldn't listen.
You wouldn't listen.
Sorry.
You wouldn't listen.
Sorry.
Yeah, Will tried to tell you. Will fake MicReal News, been doing it for years, and you guys just don't want to listen. So like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. The Tru Perspective, the TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. The TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. And then make sure that you go and follow Will Turbit on FakeMicRealNews.com, Facebook, all platforms, all major platforms. Find him. Go on YouTube.
And YouTube tomorrow, 6 p.m. YouTube tomorrow on my channel. First Springmeyer. Maybe Tru will get up there with us too if he can.
I'm gonna check it out. Also, Monday, January 20th, 11 a.m. Starting at 11 a.m. I'll be doing a live podcast of the Trump inauguration. I'm going to be paying attention to that. I do think that there might be some events that unfold. I hope that they don't, but we'll see. At the very least, I'm just going to be a document in it. But if you're available, Will, come on. And yeah, we'll talk about it. Listen, Will, I appreciate you for coming on last minute and all that stuff. And we had a good conversation about this. And this actually, like, we went bullet points. So that's dope. We were on fire tonight. Appreciate you, brother. Love you, brother. Be safe, and we'll be in touch. Once again, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. The Tru Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. And then make sure you go follow Will on Will Turbit, FakeMicRealNews.com. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank you. TikTok. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Love you. Bye. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say it.
I'm trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Keep spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. It's already here.